So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K24 Next Gen. In today's video, we are back with another episode of our off-season rebuild series, and today it's going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves. Last week, Minnesota's season officially ended at the hands of Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas looked like pretty much the better team throughout the entirety of the series. Minnesota did win one game. It was game 4. But other than that, they just didn't really look like they were competing on the same level. So huge credit to Minnesota for getting this far. Led by a 22-year-old bona fide superstar in Anthony Edwards. He's already in the conversation for, say, face of the league. And this guy is going to be very, very good for a very long time. So ton of credit to him. Ton of credit for everybody else here on this Minnesota team for getting them this far. I am very, very excited about what the future can be for this group. As always, let me know any other video ideas down below in the comments section. In terms of this series, this off-season rebuild series, we've been kind of chugging through for a month and a half now. There's not many left. We have the two teams that are in the NBA Finals, the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. And then we have the Toronto Raptors, who I just kind of forgot to do. So that'll be Wednesday most likely. But this series has been an absolute blast. Of course, we do need other videos, so let me know down below in the comments section. Let's get into this one. I want to go ahead and talk about this Timberwolves roster real quick. I think there's a couple decisions they're going to have to make this offseason in terms of this team. Again, they are led by a 22-year-old superstar, so of course they are going to be a competitive team for a very long time. But they're certainly, or at least I hope not, just going to run it back because there's definitely some things on this team that need to be discussed, that need to be changed. So let's get to the point guard spot. Mike Conley, 2007 draft class. He is one of, 4 players remaining from that draft class. He's 36 years old. He's an 81 overall. I would have loved to have seen him get a ring. He obviously does not have one. I just don't know how sustainable of a point guard option he is. There was nothing wrong with him. I know he was injured as well, had an Achilles injury. So I like Mike. I'd like to see him get a ring. I just don't know how, again, smart it is to have a 36-year-old point guard throughout the 3 years of this video. So we'll see. Monty Morris, I'm pretty sure was a trade deadline acquisition. I feel like we didn't really see a ton out of him. Of course, the rotation does slim down once you get to the playoffs, but he's certainly a viable backup point guard option. You got Jordan McLaughlin here, who I think got some playing time in Game 5 at some point. I think that was the only minutes he actually saw in the series. Anthony Edwards, I can't say enough good things. He did struggle at times in that Western Conference Finals series, but let's be honest with each other, he's the only reason that they're actually in that position in the first place. So, I mean, he swept through Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns. He helped take down the defending champion Denver Nuggets on their home floor in Game 7. I know it wasn't a strong performance out of him, but you get my point. He is one of the faces of this league, and he's going to be for a very long time. 95 overall, only 22. Very excited to build around him. Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I like his emergence quite a bit. I think he's really got really good size here, good wingspan. He's certainly somebody that I think can be a very, very effective player for us here in today's video. Wendell Moore Jr., I'm not really sure what to do with him. I mean, he's 22, so of course it is nice to have that age. I just don't know how high that ceiling kind of is. Jaden McDaniels is a very interesting piece for me. He is one of the premier defensive players in all of basketball. I feel like in some senses of it, he can guard 1 through 5. It's probably more realistically 2 through 4. But Jaden McDaniels is only 23, obviously got that contract extension, and he is a really good defensive option. A lot of this Minnesota team is really, really good defensively. I think this team does need to find more offense. I'm not saying that means Jaden McDaniels is just gone. I'm just saying that he's 23. He's an 80. I don't know how much higher the overall is going to go, but I do like him quite a bit. He's also very hit or miss. I feel like he's either like 3 of 13 from the field or just doesn't miss. I don't feel like there's an in-between there. Josh Minott, again, kind of similar over here to Wendell Moore Jr., just not really sure. Low 70 overall, but still relatively young. Power forward spot. Let's talk about Karl-Anthony Towns for a minute. Karl-Anthony Towns, a lot of people have varying opinions on him. He's 28 years old. He was the number 1 overall pick back in 2015 and really had never had a serious playoff run up until this year. And there's nothing wrong with that because the team around him wasn't very good at any point. But Karl-Anthony Towns is somebody that I think is an absolutely fantastic player. I just don't know if I trust him as a number 2 option on a championship team. And I know how insane that is because they just made the Western Conference Finals and had an absolutely crazy playoff run. I get it. I fully get it. I don't know. I do not know. He's a little bit too streaky for me. Karl-Anthony Towns one night can look like the absolute worst player in the history of the sport, and then the next night he looks like goddamn Steph Curry out there. It makes no sense, quite honestly. So I don't know. I like Cat. He's obviously still only 28, and he is an 88 overall. We'll see. Kyle Slow-Mo Anderson. I thought he actually stepped up a little bit for them in this past playoff run. He definitely hit some timely shots. Again, his his jump shot will never look normal to me. That's just something I'm going to kind of have to get used to. But again, veteran piece. TJ Warren, probably not. Leonard Miller, probably not. And then the center spot, Rudy Gobert, is a very interesting player. He's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. He is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer in all likelihood. For me, I don't trust him, right? I don't. I'm never going to. I understand maybe some of you will not like me for that take. I don't trust Rudy Gobert in the playoffs. I don't. I'm sorry. I understand you can sit here and tell me that he did a good job against Jokic, which he really didn't. I mean, he did the best he could like anybody would, but I don't trust him as a system. Watching this man get the ball like anywhere like free throw line or lower is disgusting. It physically hurts me to watch him try to do anything offensively. I understand he's a defensive center. I get it. I just don't think he's going to be our guy here today. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. I am. Naz Reid, who I thought looked even better than Rudy Gobert at a lot of moments in this series, just won Sixth Man of the Year. I love the contract he is on. I would certainly like to get him a lot of minutes here for us today. Luka Garza. All right, let's get into it. Chris Finch has had a very interesting playoff run because at the end of that series against the Phoenix Suns, he tore his MCL, something like that. So he was coaching from like behind the bench, which is interesting, but I think he deserves all the props in the world. They had a fantastic season, and I'd like to keep him for a long time. Just crazy how that works out. All right, it is draft time. We have the 27th overall pick, and then we have 7 in round 2. I'm going to pass on the second round pick. Another problem, and I don't necessarily think this is all on him, and it's not really fair to put this on him. The Rudy Gobert part of this is almost a little bit worse just because of what they gave up to acquire him from the Utah Jazz. It was so much. I am never going to like the trade. I'm not. I'm never going to be comfortable with what they gave up to acquire him. Some people are probably in disagreement with that, and that's fine. I get it. I do not trust Rudy Gobert as a viable option in any shape, way, or form in the playoffs. I don't. So, 27th overall pick. I do not want to keep harping on Rudy. He obviously had a great regular season, won his 4th Defensive Player of the Year, but he's not a playoff guy. He's not. Zach Edey, I've drafted him quite a bit. I'm going to probably pass on doing it once again. I don't know why he falls in every single draft, but he does. Salaun is sitting here. Doesn't he typically go pretty high? I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of his last name, but Tijan Salaun. Welcome to the team. All right, well, going forward here, what are we in store for this offseason? What do we have in store for this offseason? I think there's a couple different trades that some people might like, some people might not like them. Timberwolves fans, I don't know how you're going to feel about them. But they have to be made, right? You do not ever want to get complacent with your roster. That's how you end up with 2021 Atlanta Hawks syndrome. And I get it's very different situations with what these teams are looking like respectfully. But you do not want to get complacent. Just because you made the Western Conference Finals one year doesn't mean jack shit. It does not mean you'll be back. It absolutely does not. So we're not going to get complacent. We're going to make some moves. Many of you might have been able to figure out that a trade like this is coming, but Mike Conley is officially going to be moved. He's going to the Chicago Bulls for Kobe White in a 2028 first. Kobe White just had an absolutely fantastic season. He was a candidate for most improved player. In terms of the overall, there's not a crazy difference. Kobe's one higher, but he's also 12 years younger. So that is certainly going to benefit us moving forward. So excited about this deal. I think Kobe White's going to fit very well with this starting 5. And I think that's a move that's going to set us up for a lot of future success. I am not even going to attempt to sit here and try to explain to myself and all of you why this is an actual trade offer from the Charlotte Hornets, but stupid is as stupid does, and I am certainly going to take advantage of it. Brandon Miller is going to be coming here. Why? I have absolutely no idea. He just came off a fantastic rookie season, and I guess the Charlotte Hornets are really hurting for a 30-plus-year-old center making a shit ton of money, who's a liability offensively, especially come playoff time. So, yeah, this is the deal. I don't know why, but they are going to offer it, so I'm going to take it. I wasn't even necessarily going to force a Rudy Gobert trade, but when one popped up, especially one like that, it just felt like it was almost too good to be true. So I'm kind of getting my wish in some sense of it, starting Naz Reid, who I think at times actually looks a lot better than Rudy Gobert, especially on the offensive end of the ball. So excited to have Naz finally getting starter minutes on this team. It's going to be Towns. I'm going to keep him going with this group right now. Our rookie Salaun is going to go ahead and be my backup 4. It's going to be Miller starting. I didn't want to bench McDaniels or have him come off the bench in a 6th-man capacity or anything like that. But ultimately, we just kind of landed Brandon Miller for nothing. And it's not nothing, but you get it. So it's just kind of where everything is at right now. And then we also did acquire Trey Mann in this deal. I don't really know if one of him or Nickeil Alexander-Walker can play the backup point guard spot because I'd like to, have both of them here. I think they both are really good. I'll play Trey Mann at the backup point guard spot. He's only 6'3". Maybe not the best fit of his skills, but you know what? We're fine. We're fine. We're revitalizing this bench unit a little bit along with a couple starting positions. I'm cool with it. And then in terms of the center options here, interesting. So Zach Edey didn't get drafted. Is that what I'm seeing right now? I don't know. But a guy like Jalen Smith, who's only 24 years old, they have a lot of big men depth there in Indiana, so I don't think they would mind letting him kind of walk. He's only 24 years old. 2-year contract, and he is going to accept. So we're letting everybody else go. There was nothing wrong. I wouldn't sit here and tell you that the bench for Minnesota this past season was especially strong outside of Naz Reid. But again, we're replacing it with players that I think are really going to be better for us here in 2K and in today's video anyway. So that is our 10-man rotation moving forward. I will see you guys at the start of year number 1. I know we've already talked about this a bit, but I'm very much aware that many of you are probably going to have varying opinions on the moves I just made. Again, it's very rare that a team makes it all the way to the Western Conference Finals and then you trade away, 2 out of 5 starters, completely blow up the bench, and trade away a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. That's very rare. It does not happen very often or anything like that, but I decided it was what's best for this team, and I really do think it's going to benefit this group quite a bit, and I am very excited to see how this year number 1 goes for us. So does Coby White, Anthony Edwards, Brandon Miller, who, again, I can't really believe we got. I'm actually pretty much almost 100% sure he's actually already a higher overall than Rudy Gobert. And again, I'm not getting into a talent comparison, but Rudy regresses, Miller obviously progresses. So nice to see. Karl-Anthony Towns and then Naz Reid. Super excited to have him in the starting lineup. Hope he takes even another jump from where he's been at. So Jaden McDaniels is going to be my 6th man. Some people might be, against that, which is totally fine. Again, I think he does fit with that team. In that starting 5 really, really well, but ultimately we've been looking for a little more offense, and that's never going to hurt when you have Miller in there instead of McDaniel. So he'll be our 6th man. I'll take over there. Jalen Smith we brought in as a backup center. Trey Mann, who's now our backup point guard, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and then Tijan Salaun. I'm probably, again, just completely screwing up how his name actually is pronounced, but that's where we're at. So I like it. I think we've gotten off to a really good start in this video so far, and I'm very excited for what's going to be year 1 here. I will see you guys at the end of it. 47-35. That's how we end the first regular season here in Minnesota. I'm sure some people are already going to be jumping down my neck for the record that we had when we started this video and the record we have at the end of year 1. That's fine. Just hang with me. Luka's your MVP. It's his first of his career. Those are absolutely insane numbers. Castle's your Rookie of the Year. Draymond, 6th man of the year. You do not see that too often. Good for you. Wemby, your DPOY. Trace Jackson-Davis, most improved. Brunson, Clutch Player of the Year. And Jason Kidd, head coach of the Dallas Mavericks, is your Coach of the Year. All right. Standings time. We are the 4 seed here in the Western Conference. We're going to have the New Orleans Pelicans here in round 1, and for that, I am okay with. And here's a look at the Eastern Conference. We're the 1-seeded Toronto Raptors. All right. And then player stats. Let's dive into it a little bit. Anthony Edwards was incredible. 26.5 points, about 6 rebounds, damn near 4 assists, with almost 1.5, 2 steals a game, while being 54% from the field. Karl-Anthony Towns, Naz Reid, Brandon Miller. What the hell? All right, I certainly thought he would maybe be taken over as like the 3rd, if not maybe even the 2nd option. That obviously is not the case, so that's something to keep an eye on. Maybe did we get screwed in the Rudy Gobert trade? I don't think so, but that's still kind of crazy to see. All right, it is us and the Pelicans here. Let's take a look. CJ, Herb Jones, Ingram, Zion, Valanciunas. You got Trey Murphy, Markelle Fultz, new addition there with Dyson Daniels as well. They steal game 1 on the road. We do tie it up at 1-1. We go up 2-1. They go back and tie it. We go up 3-2, and we close them out. All right, now a rematch of last year's Western Conference Finals. Obi Toppin is now a member of the Dallas Mavericks. Looks like they've moved on from P.J. Washington. No, they have not. He's just on the bench. Okay. Interesting moves all around. All right, we lose game 1 against Dallas. Do tie it up at 1-1. Go up 2-1. Tied at 2s once again. Up 3-2. And we're in the West Finals. We're in the West Finals, and we are taking on the best player in the world, Nikola Jokic, and the Denver Nuggets, who have obviously been here, won a championship before, and they're probably looking for a little bit of revenge on us. So I'd like that to not happen, and let's go out and just get it done. Quickly win the first 2 on the road. We have yet to lose a game, and we sweep them. I don't know. I do not know. I do know that we are okay. What? I get it. I understand this game for whatever reason. They like to just give the conference finals MVP to somebody on the losing team. It happens way more than it should. I understand it's only been an award for 3 years now, but it's never going to happen. It's not. Especially in a sweep, it's ridiculous. All right, 76ers, Maxey, Kobe Walter, DeMar DeRozan. Interesting. James White. Okay, I'm just going to be straight up honest. This would be the worst spacing in the history of the sport. Oh, good God. All right, here we go. We quickly go up 2-0. They do win game 3. We win game 4, and we're heading back to Minnesota here. Not a good start, but we are hoping to close them out here on our home floor and not have to go back to Philadelphia. That would certainly be nice. So, can we do it? Can we hold this lead? I'll see you guys in there. Don't lie to me. I know many of you had doubts about where I was going with this team after the moves I made, and then especially after the way we ended the first regular season. But here we go. We're winning a championship here in year 1. And I know we obviously did a lot to this team, but just trust. Just trust. Stick with the vision. I get it. Tyrese Maxey going to pull up for 3, and he misses that one. My thoughts on the Timberwolves, because typically in this situation we'll talk about the actual team, is, again, I did not necessarily expect this team, what the hell, Is it Jalen Smith? Wow. I did not expect this team at the beginning of the 2023-24 NBA season to be anywhere near a Western Conference Finals. If you had told me that the Denver Nuggets were not going to make the Western Conference Finals, I wouldn't have believed you. Again, I understand how good the Western Conference is, but still, it felt like Minnesota wasn't really grouped in with a lot of these other teams, at least from what I saw preseason and all that stuff throughout the regular season. So, I mean, I give them a lot of credit. Again, I just think they have to be smart with the moves they make. You do not want to just get competent and say, hey, well, we'll be back. A couple of different things go our way. There's a lot of close games. Maybe this is a team that can get it done. I'm not a fan of that mentality. I'm not. I think this team can get better. I think this team should get better. I understand there's not a lot of draft capital because they gave up 85,000 goddamn draft picks for Rudy Gobert, which again, I'm just never going to like it. I'm never going to like the deal. Again, it's not, nobody gives a shit if I like it or not, but I think it's going to hinder the franchise in terms of maybe acquiring another star, whether it be the money Rudy makes, what they gave up to get him. It is a lot. So I know Rudy was really good at certain moments for them. Obviously just won a Defensive Player of the Year as fourth. But he's not a playoff player. He is absolutely not a playoff player. It's sad because I do feel like sometimes people don't credit him enough for what he does, because a lot of the things he does do don't necessarily show up in the box score. But I think they just got to find complementary pieces that are just a little bit better. So I'm hoping they do that. I am hoping they do not get stale, stagnant, confident in this group, because there's no reason you shouldn't be confident. You should just be smart. You should still be active, even though you had a really good season. So that's my take on it. This team's going to be good. Anthony Edwards is a bona fide superstar, and again, only 22 years old. What a way to end it. Championships in year ones are obviously always fantastic. It does not mean the video is going to stop, as we still have 2 seasons to go. Anthony Edwards at the age of 23, right? Yeah, he's your finals MVP. All right, that's obviously great to see. Now we head into offseason number 2. LeBron James officially calling into career staff retirements, Hall of Fame jersey retirements, and then draft lottery, like damn near 99% positive. We don't have a pick in the lottery, but let's just zoom through it real quick. All right, Bulls, wow. Spurs, actually, we might have a future Bulls pick. I don't know how many years out it is, but I think we do. We're obviously very happy with the job Chris Finch just did with this team. Let's head up to the draft. We do not have our own first, right? Yeah, we do not. All right, 2 seconds. We're going to skip over the draft this year. That's fine. I don't really think anybody we were going to draft, because we've already done a pretty decent job of building out this bench. We are going to make sure we get our starting center back in Mr. Naz Reid. And then Trey Mann is certainly a player I'd like to bring back as well. So a couple big free agents here for us, along with Nickeil Alexander-Walker. About $18-19 million bucks annually for Naz Reid. Alexander-Walker wants about 5.5, which is not nearly as much as I thought. And then about 11 for Trey Mann. So we get all 3 of those players back. Of course, all of them relatively important contributors on this squad right here. So in terms of what other major moves, or really any major moves, because there hasn't been one yet this offseason, I don't really know. I don't really think it's necessary to force something at this point in time. I mean, maybe do I explore a Jalen Smith trade? Yeah, that doesn't. I'm just looking in terms of like the contract, right? Like if there's a player that I can add that's on a multi-year deal, like, ooh, I'm not giving up a draft pick though. I don't want to do that. Drummond's just a little old. So, I mean, there are certainly some nice options out here. Who's this pick from? Brooklyn. That's in 26, though. Now, hang on. All right, you know what? We're keeping the team exactly the same. I know nobody likes it. I promise I'll switch something up next offseason, but we're feeling good right now. After winning a championship in year 1, we decided to not make any moves to this 10-man rotation, and I think that was a smart decision. Ultimately, this team is relatively young. We moved on from some older pieces in our first offseason, and this is really a group that I think has the opportunity to go back-to-back. So let's see what happens. It's Kobe White, Anthony Edwards, Brandon Miller, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Naz Reid. Funny enough, the minutes might not show up, but if I auto-set this rotation, it wants Jaden McDaniels to start over Brandon Miller. So I was very confused with the first season here with Brandon Miller. Again, I know there's a lot more talent around him here than there was in Charlotte, but just interesting. I thought he'd take a sophomore, a next step, and it looked like he got hit with a sophomore slump. So hopefully it's a big step in year 3. McDaniels will remain my 6th man. You got Jalen Smith in here, Trey Mann, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Mr. Salaun, who is our 10th and final man. So this is the group. Again, I think we certainly are talented enough to go win another one. So I'll see you guys at the end of year number 2. Back-to-back MVPs for Mr. Luka Doncic. More importantly, we go 56 and 26, and we are very much hoping we are on our way to a second straight championship. Cooper Flagg is a Chicago Bull. He's your Rookie of the Year. Hugo Gonzalez, I see that name a lot for 6th man of the year. So good for you, Hugo. Wemby, another depoy. Sarr, most improved. Steph Curry, Clutch Player of the Year. Daigneault, 68 wins for the Thunder. They already did, but they have officially arrived now. All right, we are the 3 seed here in the West. Of course, many of you are privy to the Western Conference is a goddamn absolute lunatic conference. So here are the numbers on the season. Anthony Edwards, Towns, again, Miller, it's all right. This is just the team. I mean, again, you guys are very much aware of this at this point. I don't care who does what as long as we're winning. It is us and the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry, Podziemski, Wiggins, Sandro. Interesting. Trace Jackson Davis. So no more Clay, no more Draymond. All right. If that does happen this offseason, if one of them is gone, likely going to be Clay. It's going to be so crazy, man. Seeing that team, not all together. My childhood, man. The Spurs actually upset the Dallas Mavericks. Wow. I mean, Wemby is still here. They got Marcus Smart now, Ace Bailey. Interesting team there in San Antonio. All right, we quickly go up 2-0, make it 3-0, and make it a sweep. All right, Western Conference Finals, the 68-win Thunder. Oh, yeah. Anybody surprised? Yeah. No, this team is very good. Oh, Patrick Williams as well. They always are good, and they're certainly not going to just bow down just because we won it all last year. So we are down 3-1 right now. We do force a Game 6. And that is unfortunately all she wrote. It is going to be a Thunder and Heat finals running it back from 2012. Teams obviously look a lot different. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, your finals MVP. All right, it is offseason number 3, the final one before we head into the final season. And again, as I told you last offseason, I am going to make some changes to this team. We're not just going to run it back. So we are projected the 12th overall pick. Pretty sure it's a swap, so I'm pretty sure the Jazz will get the higher pick no matter what it is. So yes, they do. It's at number 12. That's fine. Okay, we are wanting to go ahead and this game, for God knows what reason, makes it way harder than it needs to re-sign your head coaches. It's so why would you not just put the guy I had most recently at the top, right? Why? Nobody thinks that's a good idea? Oh, man. All right, I'm not drafting anybody. Again, I know people get mad when I do this. I don't know. It just feels smart right now heading into the final regular season. So Miller and Salaun both coming back. And then we are now going to look here in free agency. Do we have any big free agents? Kobe White. I'm not going to lie to you. Kobe White is a guy I could maybe look to move on from. Jalen Smith is also somebody that's entering free agency or is in free agency. So what I'm going to do right now is bring back everybody that we had. I'm going to go ahead and pay Jalen Smith. Oh, the game's not going to let me. Wow. Did he? Unless he already signed somewhere else. Which he might have. Yeah, and that's on me. I fucked that one up. All right, who are the other center options? I didn't even look. They're not great. They are not great. All right, Kevon Looney will do. I mean, I get he's 30, but he's a backup center playing probably 10, 12 minutes a night. All right, we're making a move. We're trying to add Jalen Suggs to this team, and we just did. I gave up 2 draft picks. Jalen Suggs, overall-wise, is an 87 versus the 83, 84 we had with Kobe White. He's only 25 years old. There was nothing wrong with Kobe White. Ultimately, I think he was our 5th option, and Jalen Suggs very might well be that. But the overall is higher. I think it'll benefit this team greatly. So that is a change we're going to make. I've decided I don't want to make any other changes. I am a little surprised that Naz Reid's overall isn't moving at all. Like, he was an 81 to start this video. He's only an 82 now. A little weird. But nope, we're all set. I will see you guys at the start of the 3rd and final regular season. We made a pretty big change this offseason. We went ahead and moved on from Kobe White, who was our starting point guard on the championship team in year 1. We added Jalen Suggs. Look, there was nothing wrong with Kobe White. He was our 5th option offensively. And I do think Jalen Suggs is a bit of an upgrade. So that's the move we decided to go with. He pairs up with Anthony Edwards. Brandon Miller, who, crazy enough, if I auto-set this rotation, it still wants McDaniels to start, even if the minutes don't show it. And clearly the overall doesn't show it. So very, very strange with whatever's been happening with Brandon Miller here today. Karl-Anthony Towns and then Naz Reid. Bench unit will be led by McDaniels. Once again, you got Trey Mann, Salaun, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Kevon Looney. So that's the group. I will see you guys at the end of the final regular season. Our best record yet here at the end of year 3 sees us with a record of 62-20. We are the 1 seed, I'm assuming. Actually, I don't know that for a fact. I don't want to jump to conclusions. Because this guy led his team to an MVP and 68 wins last season, it's probably just as high this year. Elsie Harrington, Rookie of the Year. Walker Kessler is now a Wizard. He's your 6th man. Wemby, Malachi Branham. Jason Tatum is a Piston. I will jump off my deck if this ever happens. And Chris Finch does win Coach of the Year, so typically a good sign for the best record. You can see we're the 1 seed, and we're feeling pretty good. We are definitely feeling pretty good right now, and I don't know. I'd like another championship. I don't know about you guys. It is Ant, Towns, Miller. Okay, good to see him kind of slowly but surely going up. Naz Reid, Suggs, Mann, Salaun, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, McDaniels, and then Looney. Rebounds per game was Towns, and assists was Ant. All right, who do we got? Round 1. It is us and the Houston Rockets. Cade Cunningham. All right, and then Thompson, Whitmore, Jabari Hartenstein. So it looks like they lost out on Şengün. They have Jalen Green coming off the bench. Okay. God bless this game sometimes. I think we're the better team. I think they might have more higher 80-plus overalls, but who cares? Us and the Spurs, it is Dillingham. We swept this team last season. I don't know if we'll sweep them again, but okay, not a good start. I do think we're the better team. I really do. We are quickly up 3-1, and don't blow a 3-1 lead. Thank you. West Finals, us and the Dallas Mavericks. We beat them year 1. They have lost Luka, but replaced him with the guy they traded him for on draft night in Trae Young. doesn't move me nearly as much. All right, it is us and the Cleveland Cavaliers here in the NBA Finals. Garland, Mitchell, how many fucking Nicolas are coming into this league? Mobley, Allen, Kuminga off the bench, Tobias Harris. This Cleveland team's good. 2K obviously loves them, but I think we're just too much at this point in time. We go up 3-1, and we close them out in 5, and that is the second Finals MVP for Anthony Edwards of today's video. So, yeah, it's an interesting one because, we made some moves that, although, maybe weren't 100% necessary, I think they really did benefit us, right? If we didn't make the Rudy Gobert trade for Brandon Miller, if we didn't make the trades to get Suggs, to get Kobe White, I don't think any of this happened. So it just kind of goes to show you, even in 2K especially, and in real life I'm talking about, never get complacent, never be happy with what you had, even though it was a great season. I would say this season for Minnesota completely blew all expectations, predictions, whatever you want to call it, completely out of the water. But this was a really good first step in the right direction. It was a very big step, but it is only a step. This is not the finish line, and there is tweaks that this team can make to get a lot better. So I am excited about the future of this team. Ant is a bona fide superstar, and I'm very excited to watch him for the rest of his career. So that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know any other video ideas down below in the comment section. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.